Hi, I'm Katie Quintana. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to talk about ways that we can make sure that we are making time for prayer and Bible study and Bible verse memorization. So I'm going to share with you some of the tips and tricks that I use that have really helped, and hopefully they can help you too. I had done a video about a Bible reading challenge that I had just started this last week. So I will link that above in case you're interested. You can still jump in. Doesn't matter if you're behind, you jump in on the day that we're on. So if you're interested, go ahead and look at that and join me if you want. So here are just some of the things that I have found really help me. So for things like just helping learn theology and things, we are using a catechism. It's called New City Catechism, and we're using it with the kids a lot, but this really helps me and it reminds me to go over it with my kids. So having something like this that you can just set out on your table is really useful. So, because if it's just stuck in a drawer, you don't remember it. So this can actually sit on our table. I can just put it out there. We remember to do it, then I can move it to the counter if it's in the way, but then it can be moved back on the table when I'm cleaning the counters later that day. So something like that really is useful, whether it's for catechism or Bible study or whatever. On that same note, that I will, if I'm reading, I will leave my Bible open somewhere, so a room that I'm going to pass a lot, or at the kitchen table, or even on the counter, and it'll remind me that I have not finished my reading for the day. And so when I walk by, I can be like, okay, I have time to read a chapter real fast. Let me read it, and then I can maybe have to come back and read more later because the kids need something, but it's there, it's out in the open, it reminds me to sit and do it. Then for like verses and stuff, I always have little note cards, and I can slip them in like the frame of our mirrors in our bathroom, or I put them in my purse, or well, I don't carry a purse, I carry a diaper bag. So I can stick them in a diaper bag and take them out when we're waiting somewhere. Sometimes I just keep them in the car so I can pull them out. Really, these are great. Like if you just use a simple card, or even sticky notes that just stick on your dash in your car. Because there's so many times you're going through a drive-through, or you're stuck at a red light, or you're waiting for, I don't know, a kid to get out of school if you have kids in school. You have time to just sit there for a few minutes, or at the grocery store waiting in the grocery line, or grocery pickup, because that's what I enjoy doing. So I can sit there and look at the verses and actually memorize them, and I can work on them with my kids if my kids are with me. So definitely always have verses ready to go. Also, you can put them on your phone. I'm not as good with them on my phone. I don't know why. Like sometimes if I put it as my opening screen when I first open my phone, then I'm like, oh yeah, I should read that before I start scrolling through things. And so sometimes I can do it, but I don't actually really ever remember to just pull it out and do it if it's like just in memos or notes or something. So maybe it works for you, or maybe if you just put it as your home screen or back screen or whatever, then maybe that'll be helpful for you. For me, really just having cards has worked the best. When I'm really busy, like cooking dinner, doing things like that. So if I'm doing like a big meal prep session where I'm gonna do freezer meals and I know I'm gonna be in the kitchen for like an hour or so, I put on my audio Bible. This is the NIV Live, a Bible experience. We really like it. The kids don't mind it playing in the background because it's not just kind of a monotone reading. So they'll even listen to it, and it keeps my interest longer too. Like it draws me back in. Like if I find my mind wandering and then it's like, oh, there's this new music or this new voice, or so it kind of catches me more than just having a single reader. So sometimes I do use my Bible app on my phone when it's just my regular reading and I'm just trying to listen to it in the car or something like that, and I don't have the CDs. Then yes, I listen to it on my Bible app, and that works great. But like when I know I'm going to be busy and my mind might wander, this is really helpful because it does draw you in when there's new sounds or new voices. So I highly recommend having something like that. We also just have so we just made this at my women's study. Just made it at my women's study that we had this week. So this weekend, one of the ladies had set this up for our brunch time and had us make this little craft. So it's just like a little ball and wire that holds your cards. So it was kind of fun. You can set them different places. So things like that, where you're just setting your verses around the house. You can write them on your mirrors. You can write them on any whiteboard you have. I'll kind of show you what I have around my house to show you kind of what I do. But Also things like get in a routine. I do not get up before some of my kids because two of my kids get up ridiculously early and I am not a morning person. So my husband is up with them and I get up and I try to get at least a little bit of reading in or at least prayer time in before I leave the room and start dealing with the kids that are awake. So try to find some kind of routine. Like I know some people would love to just wake up before their kids and get it done, and that's their goal, is to do that, and then they're frustrated when it doesn't happen, because I know I was that person too, where it's like, oh, it makes so much more sense and I'd be so much happier if I could just have that Bible reading time done in the morning and have that time spent with God in the morning. And yeah, it would probably be really beneficial, but just giving myself grace to know that I'm not in that season right now, that my kids are up really early and they won't probably always be up this early, or at least they'll be more independent. So if they are up earlier, I can still do my Bible reading. So I have to keep that in mind. And so I do what works for me, which is wake up, get as much done as I can, even if it's only reading a little bit or just doing prayer time. Get in the Word or get in and have your prayer time be connected to start your day off good. But don't beat yourself up if it's not a 30-minute or hour-long study session in the morning. You don't have to do that. You find time in the day later, if you have nap times, even just reading a chapter aloud while everybody's eating lunch. That helps you get your Bible reading in. It shows your kids how important it is to do Bible reading throughout the day. So find times that work for your family. I mean, it doesn't have to be quiet time. I mean, in a house with 4 children right now, there's not a whole lot of quiet time. So I try to make it work when I can and actually have quiet, in-depth study time. But some days that's just not possible, but I make sure I'm still reading, I'm still listening, I'm still learning verses, I'm still finding time for prayer. Even if they're just quick little 5-10 minute sessions, you need in the Word. Don't use excuses that you're just too busy, because everybody can find 5 or 10 minutes to connect with God, to connect with the Word and to get deeper with it. You don't have to do big in-depth things, but you also don't need the fluffy little devotional things that are just like a quote for the day and here, this should satisfy you for the day, because no. I mean, I know there's times where it's like I might only read a couple verses a day, but even when I do that, I'm trying to pray on those verses. I'm trying to memorize them throughout the day and go back and reread them if I have a chance, because we need to be in the Word, learning the Word, not just hearing it and trying to be all like fluffy about it. Like, oh, yay, that makes complete sense and that's so fun. And that makes me feel good about myself, because that's not it. You're supposed to be learning about Jesus, and that's what's important. So make time to do it. Find time wherever it is, and don't feel guilty if it's not huge and in-depth, but also make sure you're getting the Word. Okay, so like I said, I leave the catechism cards on our table. And then I'll leave my Bible open. If I am doing a Bible study, we're just getting ready to start one with my church. I don't know anything about this one yet, so I'm not really sure, but that's what we're doing with our church. So it's out here so that way I can work on it a little bit at a time and have it out where hopefully I see it. Usually the kids are doing their homeschool work around here, so I can sit and do it as I'm helping them with homeschool. This is our big entryway right inside our kitchen by the front door. So this big whiteboard I am using to do all of our verses that we're working on as a family. There's also room for our kids to write their Awana verses out. Like Grace likes to write it out and then erase words a little bit at a time so she can see how much she knows and remembers. So we have some room where she can do that. And then we can, sometimes we do check marks on the side. Like when we've actually practiced this one, we'll go ahead and put a check mark and we can see how many days we practiced it that week. But I'm not always good at remembering to do that, but it's kind of fun for the kids to see how many times it took to practice before they feel like they've mastered it. So this is the main bathroom in our house. So I put some verses on the mirror for us to study. So while kids are brushing teeth, washing hands, we can be studying them together. So a lot of the ways I do Bible verse memorization is we're doing it as a family, and so it kind of encourages me to do it because I'm also teaching them to do it. For my Bible reading challenge, I am using the YouVersion app, so I do set a reminder on that, so every morning it goes off to help me remember to do my reading, and I don't click out of the reminder. I let it stay on the top of my phone. until I have done it, clicked in and actually done some reading. So I don't just like slide it out of my way. I keep it there until I've at least got in and done some of the reading. So that kind of helps too. Also, just accountability, having friends and mentors that are asking you if you've been in the Word. Find whatever works. Just leaving Bibles out, if it's having verse cards out, if it's having a sign that reminds you to pray, if it's having just a little quiet spot already set up where everything is ready, where you have highlighters and your Bible study and everything that you want. So as soon as you have a chance, you can sit down and get it done. Just having a box with prayer cards and who you need to pray for and verses that you can pray over that person really helps. So I'll keep a box and it's like, okay, here's for my sister, and these are the verses I want to be praying over her life. So they're in there. All I have to do is I stop. I have time to pray for one person. I pull out the verses I want to be praying for that person. I can get it done. So anything that makes it easier to just sit down and start, then have it, it's just a lot easier, and you'll do it better if you have it prepared and ready to go. So put a little bit of effort in up front to have things ready, have them wrote on boards, on cards, and specific places, and you'll do a lot better. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe so you can get more content like this. And I hope you found something in this video that's going to help you on your journey to get in the Word more.